In this video, we'll solve the equation, the floor of x plus the floor of 1 over x equals x. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss another video. Okay, so the floor of x equals n implies that x is between n and n plus 1, but x can be equal to n, and also n is an integer. Okay, so let's look at some examples. So the floor of any number, any integer like 5 will be 5 because it's an integer. Let's look at the floor of pi. So pi is approximately 3.14 ... So we go to the next integer below it, so that would be 3. The floor of negative 1.2. So we go down to the next integer, which will be negative 2, and so on. So let's look at the case where x equals n, which is an integer. This means, so x equals n implies that the floor of x equals x, which is an integer. So plugging this into the original, you get x plus the floor of 1 over x equals x. And you see that x's can cancel on both sides, so this means that the floor of 1 over x equals 0. So putting this back into the original, floor of x equals n, you get that 1 over x is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to 0, less than 1. But 1 over x is never equal to 0 because x would have to be infinity, but that's not a number, so we can get rid of the equals sign in the inequality. Okay, so how do we solve? So we get that 1 over x is less than 1, and 1 over x is bigger than 0. So we have to take the reciprocals on both sides, leaving us with x is bigger than 1, and so the reciprocal of this, you do 1 over it. So this will be 1 over x. You flip that, so that'll be x, and you flip the inequality too. You get 1 over 0, but it's plus, so 1 over 0 plus is just infinity with limits and calculus stuff. So this means you can really just ignore the infinity because every real number is less than infinity. So our only thing is that x is greater than 1, and x is n, which is an integer, which means the solution we have is that x is an integer bigger than 1, or we can say bigger than or equal to 2. So now let's find out if that's the only solution or is that just one of the solutions. Okay, so now let's do the case where x is not an integer. Okay, so we're going to get n. So x is between n and n plus 1, and it cannot equal n. So, okay, so now so floor of x is equal to n, right? We're going to plug that into the original equation. So we're going to get n plus the floor of 1 over x equals x. But look right here, we have x in terms of n and floor of 1 over x. So we can just plug that in for here. So we get n. So we get that n plus the floor of 1 over x is between n and n plus 1. We can subtract n on every side, and they will cancel. So n minus n will be 0. So on the left-hand side, you get 0 for the inequality. So we get the floor of 1 over x. It's between 0 and 1. But the floor of 1 over x is an integer, right? Because the floor of anything is an integer. No, you guys don't like my epsilon sign, so I'll just rewrite it. Okay. But this means that the floor of 1 over x cannot be in 0 and 1 because there's no integers in between 0 and 1. So that means the only solution we have is that x is an integer bigger than or equal to 2. And that is the end of the video. Hope you liked it.